Okay. Perfect. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar on the basics of clienteling and why personalized selling is vital right now. I'm Katie Tame, your host for today's session, and we're thrilled to have you with us. So, joining me today is Zornitza Stefanova, the CEO and founder of BSPK, an expert in clienteling and personalized selling. Zornitza, it is great to have you on the show, and I'm happy to say we've gotten to know each other very well over the last couple of years and have had some really great conversations. Zornitza, you've had quite an illustrious background. Today, you are CEO of BSPK, a clienteling and customer engagement platform that works with some of the world's most recognized luxury retailers in Europe and North America. Could you share a little story about who you are and why you founded BSPK?
Yes, with pleasure, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to this audience. I'm a serial entrepreneur, passionate about technology innovation. I spent my career in technology, bringing new solutions to market, and I'm a big believer in the potential of technology to drive productivity and bring happiness to people in their work and lives. In the past, I spent my career life working on solutions from music streaming, social media, fintech, the internet. And this experience, consumer-facing experience, taught me about the importance of ease of use. And this experience is also what enabled me to create and develop BSPK as an easy-to-use solution for sales advisors.
That's great. Thank you, Zornitza. So moving on to our first slide, what is clienteling? So Zornitza, can you explain what clienteling is and how it differs from traditional retail approaches?
Yes, clienteling is a personalized way of selling. In traditional retail, it's really most often about the product assortment and the transaction, whereas clienteling is all about the customer relationship. As we know, effective selling requires trust, and it also requires deep product knowledge. And that is where clienteling is truly a game changer, because it uses data to provide the right information about your customer and to match the right product or service to their need. Very importantly in clienteling is to have the right message at the right time. And so when we think about it, it's a way to communicate. The example I would give is that we all communicate with our friends over text messages, social media. It's all very rapid, it's very, very personal. And it's the same for the sales advisors. That is what they need to be able to personalize the shopping experience.
Wonderful, thank you. And on to personalized selling. So why is personalized selling so vital right now, especially in the current retail environment?
72% of consumers say that great customer service is the paramount driving of their purchasing decisions in discretionary spending. And discretionary spending is everything that people want. A great vacation, the next spa appointment, a luxury item, their next car. These are all experiences where emotion plays a role. And so the value of great customer service has really high emotional value. As a platform, BSPK empowers experiences for the things that people want. This is very important also in particular for Gen Z and millennials, because these generations put very strong emphasis on personalization, on having something to share, something to tell their friends about. And so they're very passionate about that experience. It really brings high value to them. And the important thing about these generations, and coming back to why personalized selling is important and vital right now, is that these generations are tech savvy. And it's important to meet them where they are. on WhatsApp, SMS, WeChat, even social media. And that's really why brands need to adopt that personalized mode of operating.
Wonderful, thank you. And so Zornitza, as you know, many of our listeners are retailers. We try and give listeners a broader perspective on what is happening in the market. What are you hearing from retailers when you speak to them?
I hear two things: reduced foot traffic and declining sales engagement. And this applies to every brand, from the very top of the luxury pyramid to more aspirational brands or up-and-coming brands. And the reason we see these problems in retail is because e-commerce and social media dramatically lowered barriers. So now every brand needs to work harder and spend more to acquire new customers or engage existing customers. At BSPK, and our mission as a platform is to make that easier, to enable sales advisors to work smarter, not harder, and to create that lift in sales and sales engagement.
Wonderful, thank you. And what problems does clienteling solve? Good luck with that.
Many, but the important ones are: how do you find new customers? How do you engage past customers? How do you overcome siloed data? And how do you know what your salespeople are doing? Clienteling really brings all that data together and helps in every circumstance where you have a consultative sale or a sale that's experiential and where the emotion of the customer needs to be engaged.
Wonderful, thank you. And what do you think the main pain points facing retail brands are?
High cost of customer acquisition, declining foot traffic, and declining foot traffic is very important because 85% of all retail sales today still happen in a physical location. So imagine the impact of declining foot traffic across the board for all retail as an economic factor. The challenge with declining foot traffic is also that it's a vicious cycle. When foot traffic declines, brands invest less in the product assortment in the store. There are fewer people in the store, and so that further, that the inability to create a consistent, engaging customer experience further reduces the incentive for customers to go and visit the store. And that declining engagement also has an impact because it demotivates the sales force. So how do you energize this client relationship? And the answer, in my opinion, is communication, remote communication, because it really allows that connection between the customer and the brand, no matter where they are. And making that work more effectively is really, really important to address these two pain points.
Thank you. And regarding the in-store experience, do you think it's changing? And if so, how? And also, what specific behaviors are retailers trying to support today? And how does that differ from a few years ago?
Yes, the experience has changed dramatically. The expectation from the customer is to have a great experience, of course, everywhere, online or in store. But when you visit the store, often there are fewer sales advisors, and also there's a lot of turnover. And it's hard in that context to provide that truly consistent, great experience every time. But at the same time, the customer who comes to your store is your best qualified customer. There's no better customer than the person who actually made a trip to come to your store. And so when the sale fails, brands have important questions to answer. Was that lack of engagement? Was it the wrong product assortment? Was it stock availability, lack of a knowledgeable salesperson? And technology is a powerful driver of intelligence. It really allows brands to go back in those circumstances and find out data about what happened and come up with strategies about what needs to change.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. And can you share some real world examples of how businesses have successfully implemented clienteling?
Yes. I have two examples. One is from a global footwear brand, which adopted BSPK, and it was extremely successful in reactivating and re-engaging lapsed customers. They clienteled tens of thousands of customers. They had a very powerful program around care and repair, and engaging customers this way with a relevant offer around care and repair not only brought the customer back to the store, but also converted into high sales growth in new categories. So it was incredibly successful. The second example I can point to is a beauty brand which used clienteling, digital clienteling, to create virtual consultations. And the impact of that was incredible because people would have the virtual consultation and then come to the store and buy. And because of the trust built throughout the whole experience, the sales conversion was incredible. They achieved sales conversion in excess of 20%, and in some locations with previously low store traffic, upwards of 50%.
Wow, that sounds amazing. And on to the next slide. How does technology play a role in effective clienteling?
At least at BSPK, technology is about bringing all your data into one place, into an easy-to-use app. As I mentioned before, I see technology as an enabler of productivity and happiness. And what technology also helps do is personalization at scale. So empowering your sales advisors to have access to the right data at the right time is critical. And having that technology be easy to use is essential for adoption, which is why I really believe that clienteling goes in hand with not just having technology, but having something that's truly easy to use, because otherwise it will not be adopted.
Thank you. I love that point on how technology can empower sales associates. So transformation means a disruption of daily work life. What are some of the challenges with adoption of technology?
I come back to ease of use. Adoption of technology is easy, actually, when ease of use is present. And when technology is well designed, that problem is radically reduced. And well designed in this scenario means that it's solving a real problem and is designed specifically to solve that problem. When we think about sales advisors that have specific needs, any solution that you put in their hands needs to address these needs very precisely, or otherwise it will not be used. And to step a little bit, just as an analog, step out of clienteling for a moment, let's think about the iPhone or social media. We all as consumers had a need. We wanted to communicate more easily, stay connected, and these technologies showed up. They were easy to use, and all of a sudden adoption skyrocketed. It's the same for sales advisors.
Perfect, thank you. So you spoke about the importance of AI in retail transformation. Do you mind elaborating on that? Isn't AI the opposite of personalization?
Not at all. Not at all. It's actually an incredible aid to personalization, because AI powers the underlying intelligence of a technology solution. It helps make sales advisors more efficient and more productive. And one thing I do want to say about AI, it's not about chatbots or bombarding or your customers with messages more effectively. It really is about aggregating, analyzing, and presenting the right intelligence at the fingertips of a sales advisor to make that sales advisor more effective in decision making. It brings the right opportunity at the right time. For headquarters, AI is also important. One more thing I want to add is that AI really speeds the feedback loop, and allows headquarters to have rich data to understand what processes are effective and design strategies around that.
Oh, fantastic, thank you. Okay, so what do you see as the future of clienteling and personalized selling?
Deeper personalization, and I also would say continued evolution of seamless omnichannel experiences. As technology advances, there will be more interactions, more intelligent outreach, more relevant outreach, and it's all about anticipating customer needs. So that targeted, very clear ability to personalize is where I see the future of personalized selling.
Thank you. So, Zornitza, how do you see the retail industry transforming, and how does BSPK bring value to brands? Do you think it's important to build a narrative from perspective of customers and their journeys, sort of both online and in store?
Yes, indeed, and online and in store is critical. As I said before, the omnichannel aspect of industry change is ongoing and will continue to be even more important in the future. I do think that the way the industry is changing is through personalization, and BSPK is the leader in that. We started with that vision of unified communication, personal, relevant, visual outreach, easy to use app, one app for sales advisors, to power personalization. So I'm a really strong believer in that. The second way I see the retail industry changing is that every sales advisor will have a phone in their hand, and I am shocked sometimes when I go to brands and they tell me they haven't equipped their sales advisors yet. Because when the sales advisor has such incredible intelligence in the palm of their hand, it's an incredible competitive advantage. It's truly a game changer for brands. And I always encourage brands to realize that investing in the empowerment of their sales advisors is critical, because it also makes them productive, makes them want to be productive. It really puts the ownership of the customer relationship in their daily work.
Fantastic, thank you. And on that point, what advice would you give retail operations and marketing executives who are either considering implementing clienteling or trying to extract retail value from their existing systems? What are 3 things retailers should think about?
The first one is be nimble. Start with the customer, understand their need, and to do that, implement clienteling first, because it allows you to learn what is actually necessary on the sales floor and what the problems are that need to be solved. And then work backwards from there to figure out what back office technologies or systems you need to support that experience. It really allows you to learn. So that's my first advice. The second advice I have is to invest in your sales advisors. These are the people, they're the first touch point of any customer with your brand. And investing in their training, investing in technology to support their daily work is really critical. It's not a cost, it's truly an investment. And coming back to my point about phones, nobody in retail uses desktops or tablets effectively. It's just too much work, right? And so when we think about how do we make that experience personalized and easy, giving your salespeople ownership, it's important to equip them in the right way. And the third advice I have is that connecting the dots in the client journey is important. It requires unified data, and it requires a solution that brings the data into one place in an easy-to-use interface. So when you evaluate technologies, I would say it's important to think about ease of use as critical for adoption.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for all your valuable insights. Now, let's open the floor for some questions. Please, if you have any, put your questions in the chat. We've had a couple of questions from people emailing earlier, so we'll start with those. From Jeff, we've had, how can clienteling be exercised across various industries? For example, automotive, hospitality. What would be specific situations? What do you think on that, Zornitza? And thank you, Jeff, for sending in that question.
I think clienteling is important in every situation where the quality of the experience matters, where the purchase is emotional. And when we think about automotive or hospitality, those are emotional purchases. They're high ticket purchases. They require the customer to buy into the vision, to trust the seller, to think they're going to have the best time if it's a trip or a vacation. And emotionally, it's very important for that to be right and to work well and to come back and say, I had a fantastic customer experience. So specific examples would be, when you buy your new car, how often does the salesperson reach out to say, hey, how are things going? Are you still having a good time? Why don't you come see what's new? And really build that relationship, because when you decide to buy the next time, it's a lot easier to go to a person you trust and know, to a brand you trust and know, compared to starting all over. It's the same in hospitality, because memories connect us to great experiences we have. And I really believe that in that context, clienteling is critical in all of these scenarios. I would even go further to say that it's critical in every scenario, as I said before, where the emotion matters. Great food, wine, art, hospitality, travel, jewelry, luxury goods, you name it. I really believe in the value of that customer relationship.
Oh, thank you. That was lovely. So from Jennifer, we've had, what's new for this year in your platform?
We believe that AI will be transformational for employee productivity. We have invested heavily into making BSPK smarter, and we continue to do so. So it's been a really high priority for us this year.
Oh, very exciting. From Joshua, we've had, how quickly can a system like BSPK get up and running?
For enterprise customers, a couple of weeks. For Shopify brands, can be as little as a couple of days.
From Sarah, we've had, can BSPK help me make my sales quota?
Absolutely. And in fact, this is one of the biggest advantages of BSPK for sales advisors, and also why they tell us they love BSPK. It really makes your job easier. It brings all the data you need in one place, in one easy-to-use app. And it highlights the right sales opportunities at the right times, making it possible to get closer to your quota and exceed your quota. And also, it is possible to set goals, both sales goals and outreach goals in BSPK, and then track progress. And so having that clear visibility on where I am today in terms of my target, and who do I contact and what can I sell them, and how do I personalize this relationship, those are really key questions that help sales advisors work towards meeting or exceeding their quota.
Fantastic, thank you. From Kenneth, we've had, what is the difference between clienteling solutions and CRM?
Very excellent question. I'm glad you asked this question. Clienteling is about communication. It's really about how do you build a relationship with the person about whom you know certain things, you know who they are, what they bought, what they care about, what they need, and how do you make that person trust you, and how do you connect with them in a human relevant way. And so that is what clienteling is about. It really is a communication vehicle and a new way to sell that bridges the digital and the physical shopping experience. It connects them together. Whereas CRM is data repository. CRM is where you store your data, where you optimize your data, you clean your data, you unify your data, and then you can adopt mass marketing practices, email marketing, and broadcast outreach, and ways to tell customers about yourself, but it's very top of the funnel approach. It's kind of the first step trying to reach that new customer. And for what it's worth, in this day and age, there's been an enormous decline in people's attention to that kind of marketing because we're bombarded all the time. Email marketing is everywhere. People want to subscribe all the time. Nobody reads emails. And the same thing's happening with other mass marketing initiatives. Clienteling is about taking that customer relationship and bringing it to actually be a productive sales relationship, because the personalization, the human touch, the relevant engagement really matter.
Perfect, thank you. And Nathalie asked, is clienteling software complex? Learning new technologies like CRM can be daunting.
Absolutely. Another great question. You're right. Learning new CRM technologies is daunting because they're not designed for the need of a sales advisor. CRM technologies are designed for headquarters, and to be able to slice and dice the data and implement, as I mentioned earlier, email marketing campaigns or other types of campaigns. Whereas clienteling is designed to be really about communication. And I'm speaking about BSPK here. Really, when I started BSPK, my vision was there is a better way to communicate. And BSPK is a communication platform. And today, when we talk to sales advisors and say, hey, if you know how to use Instagram, you know how to use BSPK. That is the standard of ease of use and performance we set for ourselves, because we thought about it, how important it is for it to be easy to use. So yeah, to kind of come back to the question, clienteling, if designed properly, if implemented with the right tool and solution, can be incredibly easy. With minimal or no training, advisors are able to get started with BSPK. But any technology, if it's poorly designed, will cause a struggle. And so again, I come back to ease of use.
Thank you so much. One last thing, Hannah said your background is beautiful, Zornitza. Are you in Tahoe? And thank you, Hannah.
Yes, yes, I am. Yes, indeed.
Amazing. I'm very jealous. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for those great questions. And thank you, everyone who joined us today. We hope you found this session on clienteling and personalized selling both informative and inspiring. A big thank you to you, Zornitza, for sharing your expertise. If you have any further questions or would like to learn more about how BSPK can help your business, please don't hesitate to reach out. Our email is on the screen, contact@bspk.com. And please be on the lookout for our next webinar in August, where we will talk about build versus buy. So thank you so much again, everyone, for joining us, and hope you all have a great day. Thank you. And thank you, Zornitza.
Thank you.